Hey, we've been talking this week about questioning yourself, and today we're going to talk about what it shows. What does it show you? When you question yourself, what does it show you? It might show you some good things, might show you some bad things, might show you something really powerful. Think about that while we play the introduction. We'll be back with that and more on today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom, I don't think I got it right there. I can't hear it when I'm on location, and I don't know why. You would think I've done it 600 some odd times I'd get it right.
Well, maybe it was just what was real for you this morning.
That's it. What's real for me this morning is there's a beautiful sunrise occurring. Can you see that?
I can. Very nice.
Yes. Right over the lovely Susquehanna River in Havre de Grace, Maryland.
Are you covering this for the Weather Channel?
Hey, this area, if that storm comes through the way they're talking about, there'll be more water in that river in about 4 or 6 days.
Yes.
The lovely Susquehanna River that runs 441 miles from Oswego, New York, down into the Chesapeake Bay.
You know who you sound like now?
Who do I sound like?
Al Roker. You know why?
Why?
What you do? You know what did what you just say have to do with Al Roker? Trivia question for the morning.
Is he from Oswego, New York?
He went to Oswego State College.
Ah, okay. I did not know that. Okay. Look at Tom pulling out the wisdom.
Well, you know, it's a Wednesday morning, so we've been going for a couple of days.
It is a Wednesday morning.
All right, everyone. Good morning and welcome to today's Antidote, not the Weather Channel, or what the Today Show. Neither one of those. Where Bob and I each weekday have a conversation around a topic. This week's topic, as he said, is questioning yourself. Today we'll discuss what it means. We talked about why it matters, and what was Monday? I don't remember Monday's topic. It's not good. Anyhow,
when it happens.
When it happens, correct. I'm gonna pull that out.
Thank you. I was thinking the same thing.
So as we have that conversation, we welcome and encourage your thoughts and ideas. So whether you're following us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or
LinkedIn Live, baby.
Or LinkedIn Live. We welcome
and
your
folks,
comments.
I'm telling you, go to LinkedInLiveBaby.com. There's a surprise there.
I will do that.
You haven't done that yet. I told you on Monday, and you didn't go.
I had things to do.
Oh, Tom. I work so hard.
And I'm still sort of in mourning of the Bills' loss on Sunday, so starting to get over that.
Okay.
Because we know that when you share your thoughts and ideas on the show, it impacts what we have to say and can add value to the show. Then at the end of that conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope will help you, if you're stuck today or maybe somewhere down the road, figure out how to take your next step along your own unique pathway to success. And of course, if you have an antidote that you would like to share, please feel free to put that in the comments as well. So before we get to our topic though, each morning we start off with our celebrations. Bob, what are you celebrating today?
Hey, I'm going to celebrate the beautiful, beautiful background that I'm giving us. It is just gorgeous. I'm disappointed that I have to look at the camera and I can't watch the sun come up because it's just nice coming through that tree. It is just,
I
was thinking one of the perks of the day's getting shorter. I noticed on Monday that there's less daylight than nighttime starting on Monday for the next 3 months, which disappoints me, but it does allow for these sunrises at this hour.
It's a beautiful background. You should, if you get a chance, if you can, while you're doing this without botching everything up, take a picture of that without you in it or even with you in it. Could be a nice marketing image.
Okay.
About how are you starting your day? What are you getting? How are you going to get going?
I don't know that I can do that while we're rocking and rolling.
I think if you
But let me see if I can. You talk for a couple minutes. You talk about your celebration. Let me see if I can make this work. All right.
and if you can get one without you in it, oh well, he's gone from it. So my celebration, I don't know whether he'll hear this or not, which is okay, is that yesterday afternoon I was bringing on a new client, a new coaching client, someone who's in the nonprofit space and new in a leadership role. And so we just had some great conversations around their team and how they can interact and engage with their team as a newer leader and figuring out how to take those next steps with their team and the value. And really, one of the key things we talked about was how do they see themselves as a leader? And how can they then ensure that the people around them see that as well? So it was a great conversation, and it's always great to bring on a new client. And I really look forward to the next 6 months of working with them. Bob's not back yet, so I'm not sure what that means.
You hear me, Tom?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, I'm coming back. I
From
did
outer
what
space?
you said. Here, I'm back. I
Excellent.
did what you said. I took some pictures. I took some pictures with me, without me. So, yeah, thank you. That was a good idea.
Yeah, it's an awesome background. And so I think that, it's one of those things that I don't think about a whole lot.
Yeah.
And yet, as you're building websites, putting in LinkedIn posts or whatever, having images is great. And like that's one of those ones that somebody might think, well, that's got to be a fake background. And in your case this morning, it is not. I don't think, unless you've got a big green screen behind you that you've set that up with.
If only.
So I was telling them about my
I heard
new client.
I heard. I love it. I love it. Yes,
great.
I did.
All right, so let's dive into it. Before we start questioning ourselves about what are we talking about on the show. So, Bob, questioning yourself, what it means. What are your thoughts around that?
So we talked about it briefly yesterday, but I think it requires more thought. And I think the biggest thing that it means to me when I question myself is that something matters. And so often we make decisions that we kind of just do it. Like this morning.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Isn't that what Nike said? Just do it.
I think that was go out and exercise.
Oh.
Because whatever exercise you do is a good thing.
Okay. Sorry.
But if you've got knee problems and you go out and run a half marathon, you probably made a bad choice.
Maybe.
So getting back to my point, we can make decisions on the spur of the moment without much thought, or we can think through them. Believe it or not, this lovely sunrise that you're seeing behind me this morning is because I got up this morning and said, hey, I'm going up to Have the Grace. Where can I go to do this and get the sun behind me? Because I realized that the sun would be back there if I did certain things. So I came to this park that I've known for years and really thought about that and questioned myself as I was driving. I'm like, well, what if the sun's not up by that time? Because it was getting a little dicey at 10 till 7. I'm like, oh boy, maybe I've miscalculated. What if there are trees in the way? And I started to question myself. But then when I got here, I saw that it was exactly what I thought it was. And what it showed me and what you reinforced when you said, hey, you should take some pictures with it was I made a really important decision. Not life and death, but something that aesthetically is pleasing. It's a change of pace for us. And I think that shows to me that what we do matters to me. And it shows to me the fact that you said, hey, you should take a minute and shoot some photos shows that I matter to you. We've never done this in the middle of the program. Neither of us have ever said, hey, why don't you stop and go shoot some photos? Because it's so pretty. So we have this ability when we make a decision. Like I was questioning myself while I was doing that. I'm like, what if I screw it up so I can't come back? What if the photo shows up instead of the video? What if Tom runs out of things to talk about? All those things were going through my head, but I went forward with it. And I think that's the thing is questioning ourselves. And I started over the last couple of weeks as we were talking about this topic more and more. And as I was questioning some bigger things in my life, I started to realize that most of the things I question are around my my ability to get out of my comfort zone. So I don't question myself when I'm doing things that I'm presumably pretty good at. Like I was doing I was leading a workshop last night. I didn't question one thing in that 2 hours, not one. But this morning I'm going to be around some new people at something, and there'll be should I have shared that? Should I not have shared that? Should I go up and meet this person, not meet this person? Because it's out of my comfort zone a little bit. What do you think about all that, Tom?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that I like the path that you're going on it. And again, that's what's real for you. I appreciate and value that. I think, the other thing as I was thinking about it was it just reminds me, it's like one of those things that when we say something, a phrase, many people already have in their mind of what it means. and their perspective on that typically then influences how they react to whatever is said or how you react to what is said. And I think so often when someone says you're questioning yourself or are you questioning yourself, it is seen as really, are you judging yourself or are you judging a decision or an action that you took? Unfortunately, not a lot of people see it as, are you questioning yourself? Like, are you asking yourself questions that will help you better understand what you did, why you did it, or why you're choosing to do it? And I think that perspective is an interesting one to consider. Like if someone said to you, "Oh, Bob, are you starting to question yourself and your decision?" And if you said, "Yeah, actually I am," because I do that with every action. And with every action, I ask myself 3 questions: what went well, what didn't go as planned, and what might I do differently? And I just wonder how that would change not only how we look at things, also how others look at, and how would that impact their perspective around questioning yourself, so that it's not seen as a interrogation, it's seen as a way to discover.
Wow, I like that. You've refined that from yesterday.
A little bit. Because I think it got back to what it means, and I think yesterday we were talking about why it mattered.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the challenge is for all of us is when we use a phrase like this, do we take conventional definition or the conventional perspective around it, or is there another perspective that we haven't yet considered that might provide a whole new perspective on that could be seen as more beneficial than more of an obstacle?
I like that. Wow. The other thing I think, Tom, about the shift you're suggesting is it takes it way far away from my decision making process and more on what that action led to.
Yes.
And I think the more we get away from the decision making process, because we all make decisions for a million reasons.
Yep.
It can be emotion, a lot are emotion, a lot are, peer pressure. It can be just, I decided to do something different. Whatever the cause of that decision, that's not really the issue. The issue really is, okay, I took that action. What did I discover from that? And I like those 3 questions wrapped around that. And it also will, if I can implement it, and I think it's going to take a while to really implement it, it will discourage me from getting stuck a lot.
And frustrated too, I would imagine. One of the things that, they always talk about Monday morning quarterbacking. And now that we're in the NFL season, it's interesting. And it's also frustrating. It's become frustrating for me that the media, fans, it's very, and for people who maybe haven't heard that phrase, it's when you step back and pretty much judge someone based on a decision that they made and the ensuing outcome. And it's usually about the outcome and questioning why.
And often based on limited information. It's
correct.
Very easy to sit in my living room and say that Josh Allen should have thrown that pass over the middle instead of to the left, but I can't see what Josh Allen sees, nor am I on that field. Do I know what the weather conditions are? I don't know what the play call was.
And you don't know what the results are. And you don't know what the results. They didn't know the results when they made that decision. Once you know the results of it, yeah, now it becomes, and that's, I'm sure, why questioning yourself comes in, is because others start asking you about results. Truly, is what it's about. It's not really about your decision making. I mean, they're curious as to all of the details. Typically, I think the results didn't go the way that they planned. And so now everybody wants to know, why did you choose to do that? And that, to me, is more of a judgment. Maybe it's a little bit to learn, maybe. Yet I think so often it's just an easy way to pass judgment on people, that why would they do this? I would never do that. And yeah, those things are easier to say once you see the results. You know, if things happen to go differently, which no one knows before an action is taken what the results will be, it's really hard.
And the action could lead to a different result tomorrow or 2 weeks from now or 2
Absolutely.
years from now. You know, think of how we all adapted to COVID and all the changes we made. And now as we've gotten back to things, they're different than they were. You know, I'm noticing a lot of meetings that I used to do in person, they're over Zoom or they're over the phone because we've gotten accustomed to that. So those decisions like, oh, I drive up to my client 3 years ago, those are different decisions now. You know, I was talking to someone who was talking about taking a job in the Midwest, and he lives on the East Coast, and it was completely different. He's like, I've never been there. I'm talking to them on the phone and over Zoom, and there's no plans for me. If I take the job, there's no plans for me to be in their office. He's like, I don't even know if they have an office, to tell you the truth.
Sure.
That's a pretty radical difference. If you had said that 3 years ago, I'm going to take a job based on some Zoom talk, someone would be like, really? Good luck with that. So we see these changes, and I think that's the other thing. We try often to, I know I do, when I question myself, it's often because I've had a pattern where I've made decisions and those decisions haven't led to the results I was looking for. And so after I make that decision again, or after I do the opposite thing, it's like, okay, I did the opposite thing. It should work the way I expected it to. And it doesn't always, because there's so many variables. There's not very much that we can control. I can't control if a big 18-wheeler pulls up right behind me right now and blocks that view. Nope. I cannot. Or a school bus. You know, or Buddy, wasn't it a couple weeks ago, Buddy's Plumbing?
Buddy's Plumbing, yes. Good plug for them.
The truck went right behind us. Like, what can you do? So,
well, and I think so often we don't know the bigger purpose. If you think that things happen for a reason, you know, going back to the football analogy, is that, okay, had they made the pass over the middle, it got complete, they got it down, they kicked the field goal, and they win. Is that as helpful to them down the road in a game that matters way more? Or the fact that they actually took an action that didn't get the results that they expected, led to a result that they didn't want, and if looked at in a way to learn, better understand, so that the next time they have an opportunity to do it differently, and that it may come at a time when the outcome has much more significance than one game at the start of the season. And I think that those are the opportunities that are there if you, again, look at it from a point of learning rather than judging.
I like that. So, Tom, what's your one thing today?
So, as I think about questioning yourself and what it means, why it matters. What it shows, correct? Not what it means. Sorry.
It's okay.
I think what it means is it has the opportunity to mean to two things. And I choose the perspective of it means that I have an opportunity to learn and then use that knowledge as I move forward. Not meaning that every next decision that it's going to, the results, that I'm going to be able to control the results with future decisions. Just means that I might have more, I just have more knowledge, experience, and perspective as I make decisions that might help me get me a lot closer to the results that I desire.
I'm going to go in a completely different direction that just hit me.
Okay.
Which is, it shows that we can make a new decision. We can use the information that we've had, that we've established from prior decisions, or we can just completely go and say, you know what, I'm going to try this thing. How many times have you been to a restaurant and they have a special and you're like, you know, I've never had that before, but I'm going to try it this time. Based on no other information than it's their special, and you know, you ask the waiter or waitress, hey, is it good? And of course they're going to say it's good because it's the most expensive thing. And you really don't have a lot of information. And sometimes you get a meal that is a great meal. Sometimes you're like, no, if I come back here, I'm not going to have that. But you have that opportunity to make that choice. And I think so often in business, we treat these decisions like they're much more than the restaurant menu. And I think one of the things I'm really thinking about this week is, how really important are these little decisions I make? How really important was it that I have this beautiful sunrise behind me? I don't think anyone got up this morning and said, boy, I hope today's the day that Bob gets that perfect sunrise, because I know I've been just queuing for that for 671 episodes. And yeah, I even know how many episodes. Look at that. Shocking day for me.
I was close.
Wasn't it 671?
I don't know.
672? It's in the 670s. But just, we have that ability to choose anew and to completely change the script with the decision. And I think of people who've done hiring, and sometimes I've worked with companies with hiring. It's like, what if you hired that person who didn't fit the mold? And often that leads to a different result that causes them to move in new directions.
Yes. And all those things, you know, and the results of all of that could be different down the line.
Yep.
Like, you may come to say, you know what, I'm so glad that I not only went to this location and decided in the middle of the show to take pictures, because it created an image that I desperately need, that I didn't even realize. And now I realize how valuable it is, and that it's exactly what you were looking for some future thing that you hadn't even considered right now.
Yes.
I think it's a fascinating thing that if we allow ourselves to consider the options.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I've also learned that there's a really strong breeze coming across here, and I'm freezing.
Well, I guess that's as good as reason as any for us to start to wrap up the show. So thanks, everybody, for being with us today. If you have a one thing you'd like to share, please feel free to put it in the comments. And we know that if you're listening to our podcast, we appreciate that very much. And there's no place for you to comment. So we would encourage you to come to one of our groups. If you're a LinkedIn person, go to the Renegade Success Network for Leaders. Join that group, and you can share your thoughts and ideas in there, because we'll be talking about questioning yourself all week. If you're a Facebook person, you can go to our Ring of Renegades Facebook group and share your thoughts and ideas there. Each place is a spot for renegades to gather and share the value that they have. And usually in there, they're going to find some value that they've been desperately seeking for. So we look forward to seeing you inside of one of those groups, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time, for our next episode of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, go embrace the renegading you. Maybe get outside and see if the sun is coming up where you are.
Yes. And Bob is going to be outside for the next 2 days. So be curious to see if he questions his decision today and what that leads to tomorrow.
It's going to lead to a sweater.
There you go. All right, everybody, go out and make it a great day. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.